In the complex depths of the human mind, there exists a hidden realm known as the shadow self. Carl Jung, a renowned Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, introduced the concept of the shadow, defining it as the unconscious part of the personality that encompasses repressed desires, fears, and aspects of the self considered unacceptable by societal norm. Shadow work, therefore, refers to the process of acknowledging and integrating these concealed aspects of the self. It is a journey of self-discovery and healing that leads to greater wholeness and authenticity. The journey into the shadow begins with the realization that beneath our conscious identity lies a reservoir of untapped potential and unacknowledged emotions. The shadow holds the keys to unlocking our deepest fears, desires, and unresolved wounds, much like a hidden treasure waiting to be unearthed. However, delving into the shadow requires courage, humility, and a willingness to confront the aspects of ourselves that we would rather keep hidden from view. The purpose of shadow work is to bring the suppressed parts of our personality back into our consciousness and learn to accept and love them. Through various practices, we can integrate the parts that were previously separated from our psyches and become more complete human beings. Shadow work confronts us with aspects of ourselves that we may prefer not to acknowledge, which is why many people avoid it and are not interested in this kind of personal development. Shadow work is also trauma work, as we heal wounded parts of ourselves. Many of our shadows were created as a result of developmental or attachment trauma when we were children and didn't have the resources to fully deal with our emotions. These shadows are stored in our nervous system and in the stories we tell ourselves. Carl Jung said this confrontation is the first test of courage in the inner way, a test sufficient to frighten off most people. For the meeting with ourselves belongs to the more unpleasant things that can be avoided so long as we can project everything negative into the environment. But if we are able to see our own shadow and can bear knowing about it, then a small part of the problem has already been solved. We have at least brought up the personal unconscious. The shadow is a living part of the personality and therefore wants to live with it in some form. It cannot be argued out of existence or rationalized into harmlessness. Before beginning shadow work, it can be helpful to keep a record of every instance when you experience a strong mental, physical, or emotional reaction to people and events around you. What triggers irrational anger in you? What evokes feelings of sadness? When do you feel uneasy without being able to pinpoint the reasons for your anxiety, fear, loneliness, or confusion? When we start doing shadow work, we often find ourselves being what Jung referred to as one-sided. This means that we are disconnected from many aspects of ourselves. Shadow work helps to address this one-sidedness. If this sounds too abstract, don't worry. It will become clearer as we progress through this guide. The aim of shadow work is to harmonize the conflicting tensions within your psyche, become less one-sided, develop consciousness, become more aware of who you are, and strive for psychic wholeness, symbolized by coming back to oneself. Shadow work is a crucial part of psychological development. Your shadow side can negatively impact your well-being when you ignore or reject it. This part of yourself craves to be understood and explored because it was possibly ignored and shamed throughout your life. Even if it was less dramatic, we don't feel mentally and emotionally at our best when our shadow is not integrated into ourselves, which is to say, when the shadow and self are far apart. You can show up more confidently when you embrace your whole self, including your flaws and weaknesses. No more hiding self-doubt about the parts of yourself that you may dislike. This means you can be more confident as you work towards your goals. Most of the time, our flaws are actually valuable parts of our personality. However, if they are true weaknesses, you are better able to address them when you bring them to light so you can understand and manage them better. Our flaws cause the most problems when we aren't even aware of them. Greater internal strength is often referred to as confidence or high self-esteem. With shadow work, many of your insecurities and neurotic tendencies diminish. You no longer feel the need to defend your self-identity. As a result, your natural confidence returns and you become more accepting of yourself. By integrating your shadow side and coming to terms with your darker half, you gain more clarity about yourself. This leads to becoming infinitely stronger, more grounded, secure, fully human, and whole. One significant benefit of shadow work is that it unlocks more of your creative potential. Creativity, as humanistic psychologists like Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers found, is a spontaneous occurrence in mentally healthy, integrated individuals. Jung found that all his patients began engaging in self-expression, drawing, painting, dancing, sculpting, and fiction writing at a certain stage of inner work. As you become more aware of your triggers and projections, your ability to connect with the people around you will change drastically. This occurs as a result of clearing away judgments that may have interfered with your relationships. Through shadow work, you can release blockages and become free to experience the genuine connections you've always desired. It's no surprise that once you accept all the fractured parts of yourself, you will start feeling a sense of inner fullness and completion. Just like the entire universe is a living system based on duality, your inner world also functions with the same principles. Just as nothing can be taken out of the universe because there is no other place to go, your hidden sides cannot be pushed out of your internal system. They can mostly be ignored until they make themselves seen again in one way or another. In summary, shadow work is a profound and transformative journey of self-discovery and healing that leads to greater wholeness and authenticity. By courageously confronting and integrating the hidden aspects of the self, individuals can reclaim their power and autonomy, no longer at the mercy of unconscious patterns and conditioning. By embracing the totality of their being with compassion and acceptance, they embark on a journey of self-empowerment and evolution, unlocking the hidden treasures of the psyche and embracing the fullness of their true potential. Subscribe for more life-changing videos. Thank you.